Hi beautiful, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jeannie and this is Unfiltered 50s. And if you've never been here before, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here now. And if you have been here before, welcome back. Thank you so much for returning. I hope that today you will consider clicking the big red subscribe button and becoming part of the Unfiltered 50s family. In today's video, I'm really excited to bring you today's video. It is going to be another edition of Beauties and the Beat. We're changing the date and time of the series. This is going to be scheduled now every Sunday at 7 here on my channel, and I do believe that Rhonda, my partner at Rhonda Said, she is going to go ahead and change the time on her channel to Sundays at 7 as well. She wants to keep it consistent with the time that is going to work for me. I do have a full-time job. I work in the medical field, and Fridays for me, a lot of times there are a lot of emergencies in my department, and so sometimes it can get really a little bit crazy on Fridays, and Sundays is just a better time for me. So that's why we're moving to Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But this series is a series about music and makeup, and it's a series where we talk about musicians, genres of music, music venues, sometimes just really anything to do with music artist and the type of music that we love. Rhonda's taste in music is just a little bit different than my taste in music. Makes her a very good partner for me to have. I'm so lucky that she is my partner. Rhonda was a past DJ, and so it's just so fun working with her. In today's video, I do want to state a disclaimer that today's video will not be monetized. There are times that I will be talking about certain subject matter that can be sensitive to viewers, and this is going to be one of those videos. This video is not going to be monetized for those reasons. I would much rather choose to talk about the subject matter that I want to talk about rather than make money off of a video. And so this is one of those times. My audience on my channel is not intended for those younger than 18 years of age in the first place, and even though I don't use language that is foul, and I don't talk about sexual type of content, that type of thing, but sometimes with musicians, there are certain types of content that may be uncomfortable for some viewers, and this might be one of those videos because sometimes we know that musicians have had alcohol abuse problems, drug abuse problems, and that will be the content that I'm talking about today in today's video. If you yourself have struggled with that and it makes you uncomfortable watching a video on that subject, I just wanted to give you a heads up that you might want to not watch this video. This is going to be a video talking about the 27 Club. So I just want to give you a moment to decide whether or not you want to watch this video. This video will not be monetized because of that content. So sit back, relax, get yourself a drink or a snack if you would like, and get ready to watch this video if you choose to, and we're going to be getting into the video now. The palette that I'm going to choose to use is from Rouge Labs. Just the name of the company, Rebel, is sort of fitting for the content today because most of these musicians were rebels. The name of the palette is Prelude to Agony, and that was fitting as well. So I like to pick a palette that sort of goes along with the theme, and I just thought that this one was very, very fitting. Not only that, I love indie brands, and I'd love to be able to showcase indie brands in these type of videos. And so this is the palette. This is the cover of the unicarton. And I just love Rebel Rouge Labs for the fact that their outer carton is different from their inner carton. And here is, it just reminds me also of an album CD cover. As a matter of fact, whenever my husband saw this, he was like, oh, do you have a new CD? And I was like, no, it's actually a makeup palette. And it just is so fitting for this. And then whenever you open up the palette, it looks like this. It's just absolutely gorgeous. The pan size is not quite as big. Well, maybe it is as big as a Juvia's Place palette. It's just absolutely wonderful. You can get this. They are actually sold in an Etsy shop. This palette is in stock and available on their Etsy shop at Rebel Rouge Labs. And so you can pick yours up there. And we're going to be creating a look with this today while we are talking about the 27 Club. So what is the 27 Club? Well, it's a bit of a superstition, really, but a lot of truth to it as well. If you've never heard about it, there are basically 6 members. By the way, let me tell you, I do have my eyes primed with the P. Louise base. This is in 02. The base in 02. This came in my Busy Beauty box from Stephanie and team over there. And I'm really liking this base. So I do have my eyes primed with that. I have basically the Natasha Denona Glow highlighter on. I've got some of the Natasha Denona Glow cheek in Rayo on right now. A little bit of the Glow blush. So I'm kind of Natasha Denona'd out. And for my foundation, my favorite, the number 7. And that is in warm beige. I'm going to go into this Sepulchre shade right here and just put that down on as my transition. Now, the 27 Club has basically 6 members, and it is called the 27 Club because it's talking about musicians who all died at the age of 27. And it starts out with Brian Jones, who started the Rolling Stones. Some people may not even realize there was a member of the Rolling Stones who died, but there was. It was Brian Jones. He started the Rolling Stones, and he was basically the front man for the Rolling Stones before those of us basically in my decade in the 50s now really associated Mick Jagger with the front man. It was Brian Jones who was that very handsome, beautiful guy. Oh, he knew how to dress. He wore a lot of scarves. He was that guy that, you know, he dated Anita, oh, what was her last name? Pallenberg. Anita Pallenberg. She was, I think she was a German actress. I think that was her background. She was German. She was, you know, they were just like music royalty. They had a lot of notoriety. You know, they were like a golden couple. He was the front man for the Stones. It wasn't Jagger. And like I said, it was Brian Jones who started the Stones. He was born February the 28th of 1942. And he died. Actually, they found him, his girlfriend found him at the bottom of his pool he had bought the home that the guy who wrote Winnie the Pooh, it was his home, and he had bought that home, and she had found him at the bottom of the pool. This was July the 3rd of 1969. They found him at the bottom of the pool, and he was 27. And this kind of started off the club. And one thing that was kind of weird is, you know, a lot of these early members of the club, before there was this long break in this superstitious talking about these club members, they were oddly all connected. In some way or the other, one way or the other. And Brian Jones was the one that was connected to them all in some form or fashion. Then the next member to come along was, in fact, Jimi Hendrix. And we all know that Jimi Hendrix was, you know, they quote unquote, he's arguably the greatest musician in rock and roll history. That's kind of the way that he is known. So I don't know a whole lot about Brian Jones, because, you know, we just so strongly associate the Stones with Mick Jagger being the front leading man. And so, you know, you just don't hear a whole lot. He was just kind of, Brian Jones was just kind of, you know, snuffed out, sort of. But, you know, Jimmy, we definitely know a lot about him. We know that, you know, his mother had quite a few other children. We know that they were born with a lot of birth defects. We know that that Jimmy had to take care of these children. We know that, you know, he was expected, you know, to look after his other siblings, and we know that he was, I think he started playing guitar around the age of 15, which, you know, whenever you think about, like, Stevie Ray Vaughan, who started at a very early age, you know, at 15 is rather late to pick up the guitar, to have mastered it so magnificently. That's really actually quite late if you think about it. Jimmy was born in Seattle on November the 27th of 42. He died in London, England on September the 18th of 1970. Age 27. Now, Jimmy actually died. He took some sleeping pills, and he took 9 times, I think it was 9 times the legal limit of the prescription dose of his girlfriend's sleeping pills. His girlfriend, at the time, she had I think she was an insomniac, and she was prescribed sleeping pills, these really, really strong sleeping pills. He took some of those not knowing. I think the prescription was wrote in a language that he couldn't read. I believe that was the way it was. He didn't know how many he was supposed to take or how many he could take, and he ended up overdosing on her prescription sleeping pills. And I think it was that he had taken like 9 times the dosage that he should have taken. So he had overdosed on her sleeping pills. He ended up actually aspirating is how he died. Janis Joplin is the next member of the club, and she was born on January the 19th of 1943. She died on October the 4th of 1970. So within basically, less than a month of each other. Jimmy dies on September the 18th. Janis dies the beginning of October, October the 4th. So within days of each other. Jimmy dies and then Janis dies. She dies of a heroin overdose while she's actually recording her album Pearl, which is the album that features Bobby McGee, Chris Christopherson's song. So she's down in LA recording in a hotel room down in Hollywood, and she's in her hotel room by herself. She had some heroin. Unbeknownst to her, it was pure heroin. Wasn't cut. And whenever she shoots that up, then boom. It goes straight to her brain and she's gone. And when they do her autopsy, she's found to have had I want to say it's 46% pure heroin in her body. So, of course, that takes her out. I don't even know. I'm going into this shade right here, Eternal. How are Jimmy and Janis connected and connected to Brian Jones? Let me tell you how Brian Jones is connected to Jimmy. Paul McCartney, basically, Jimmy has been in London and he's been making a name for himself over in the UK. And a group of people decide to put on something called the Monterey Pop Festival. Paul McCartney says, hey, this guy, Jimi Hendrix, he really ought to be in this festival. You have to include him. He is the best guitarist I have ever seen. You have to include him. So to be sure that Jimmy's included, Paul McCartney says, if you'll include him, I will be part of this festival. So that's how Jimmy gets included. Brian Jones is the person who introduces Jimmy at the Monterey Pop Festival. Janis is at the Monterey Pop Festival. So there's the connection there, is that Janis is at the Monterey Pop Festival, and so is Jimmy. There was a lot of people who were put on the map from this Monterey Pop Festival, but Jimmy and Janis definitely, boom, hit the map. Janis was a part of Big Brother, the band Big Brother, at the Monterey Pop Festival, and this really put them on the map. It definitely solidified her spot as a force to be reckoned with at the Monterey Pop Festival. And it did the same thing for Jimmy. So the next person that's in the club is Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison was born December the 8th of 43. And he dies July the 3rd of 71. So that's exactly 2 years to the day that Brian Jones died. Brian Jones died July the 3rd of 69. Jim Morrison dies July the 3rd of 71. So there's one connection between them. Plus, Jim Morrison wrote a poem about Brian Jones. there's another connection. Jim Morrison, his wife, Pamela, girlfriend, wife, spouse, Pamela, she also, that's another thing weird, she also died at 27, 3 years after Jim died. And no one could ever deny, wow, he was handsome. He was handsome. Man, he was handsome. So that basically, that kind of, you know, wrapped the 27 Club up for a while. You know, that was, you know, from 69 through 71. There were, you know, 4 people, and then things just kind of died down from there. Until 1994. And then Kurt Cobain dies. You know, he really didn't have that many albums, that many hits. But for some reason, the ones that he did seemed to speak volumes to the Generation Xers. He was a spokesman for them. And so the albums that he had, the songs that he had, just had such a profound impact that, you know, he made such a strong impact on that generation that he just had such a Nirvana. That band had such a cult standing. He had a lot of mental illness within his family, as far as, you know, he had a lot of family members that had committed suicide. So you put that with drug abuse, with heroin and alcoholism and things like that, and, you know, he died of, you know, self-inflicted gunshot wound, suicide. And, you know, unfortunately, and the reason why his mother ended up saying, you know, I told you not to become a member of the club, of that club. And a lot of people thought she was talking about the 27 Club. And so that kind of brought the superstition back up. But a lot of people thought really, you know, that she was actually talking about his uncles that had committed suicide. So that kind of brought the 27 Club back up. And so he's considered to be a member of the 27 Club. And then the last member that people talk about the 27 Club, is actually Amy Winehouse. And Amy Winehouse, we know that she died of alcohol poisoning, and she was born September the 14th of 1983, and she died July the 23rd of 2011. And really, really tragic, because, you know, she had a father that she just absolutely idolized, and he was cheating on her mother, and she just didn't really understand. You know, I think that she probably felt like she had something to do with that for whatever reasons that kids feel things like that. I don't know, because clearly kids don't have anything to do with that, but I think a lot of times they think they do. Definitely one of the women that I just adore. I adore her music. I love her voice. What a tragic loss, I feel, because I think that her voice is just absolutely one of the best that has come along in such a long time. Basically, when people talk about the 27 Club, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about the artists who have died in the prime of their early portions of their career. Usually it's been to drug overdose or suicide, something like that. Very, very sad cases because they had so much more to offer the world of music. It's just really, really sad. Sometimes the price of fame is so lonely that you think that these people have it all. You know, they have everything, when they're really, really lonely and they just want to be loved, that they really don't have what they want. I wanted to do a story, Janice's story, and her story is so sad, and I just felt like I needed to do the story of the 27 Club first before I could dive deep into Janice's story. I think that Janice's story is a story of pain, a story of wanting to be loved, of wanting to be beautiful, but without understanding a little bit of the 27 Club. I think that that kind of comes first, like kind of knowing about the 27 Club. You kind of need to know about that before you dive too deep into Janice's story. So that's why I chose to do the 27 Club this week. Just so you would kind of know who the members are. What are we talking about when we talk about the 27 Club? Because I'm sure that when I do Janice's story, I'll mention that she's a member of the 27 Club. So then I was like, well, then I have to kind of, if I say she's a member of the 27 Club, I kind of have to tell what the 27 Club is. Well, that in and of itself is a pretty lengthy, that's pretty lengthy in and of itself. So I figured I better explain what the 27 Club is then. So I figured I better explain what the 27 Club was, and before I'm kind of doing Janice's video so that you would know what that was. But so much tragedy goes into some of these musicians' lives. It's just really sad. Okay, I think I've got my eye look roughed in. I'm going to step off camera and finish it up, and I'll be right back. And we'll talk about the eye palette and finish up the video. I'll be right back. Okay guys, you'll have to let me know what you think. This is my final look. I am wearing some of the brand new lashes that have just been released from Estate Cosmetics, and I'm really, really liking them. They have 5 new lashes. They have this style, this style, this style, and this style. So, and also the ones that I'm wearing. You'll have to let me know what you think. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a Try It Tuesday showing you how I applied these. So you'll have to let me know. But I am liking the way that these turned out. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed today's video on the 27 Club, and yeah, be looking for my next video on Beauties and the Beat. We will be talking about Janis Joplin, one of my favorite musicians. So yeah, I just thought that I would talk to you a little bit about the 27 Club itself before we got into any of the artists that are a part of the 27 Club. It just seems to make a little bit of sense to talk about the 27 Club first. There's so many of the members of the 27 Club that are amazing artists with amazing stories. So sad that they are gone. Yeah, you'll have to let me know which of these artists that are members of the 27 Club is your favorite artist. So sad that they're gone. I love Amy. I love Janis too. I love all of them so much. What was the thing that what was the thing that you learned today that maybe you didn't know? Leave it down in the comments. Are you liking this series? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel, I would love it if you take a second and click on the big red subscribe button down below and become part of the Unfiltered 50s family. It would mean so much. I look so forward to seeing you in my next video, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Bye for now.